Hi guys, ya sabes que Carlos feta to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today we're making a delicious baked vegetable dish that is perfect to serve with lamb, chicken, barbecue meat, roasted meat, really anything. I even like to eat this in the morning with a fried egg on top. It is so good, very delicious. It's basically a version of briam, which is the Greek version of ratatouille, except there's nothing fancy about it. I have taught you how to make that in an older video, and I'll link that down below. This is so easy. You basically grab all the vegetables that you have laying around in the refrigerator, you put them together in a roasted red pepper and tomato sauce, and then you bake it until the vegetables are tender, and all the flavors combined taste so good. You are gonna love it. Let's get started. So I'm making it with an onion. I have 4 russet potatoes here. You can put more or less of whatever you want. I had 3 zucchini, so I'm gonna use those, and 2 bell peppers. Any color will do. I'm just gonna cut everything into around the same size pieces. So with the zucchini, I'll leave the skin on and I just cut the end off. And I'm just gonna cut it into half moons, but you can cut it into rounds if you want. And zucchini I like to cut a little bit thicker because I don't want it to get mushy. Some pieces are a little bit thicker than others. Now, if you don't like zucchini, you could leave it out. If you prefer eggplant, you could add eggplant to it or substitute eggplant with the zucchini. Really, you can use whatever vegetables you have and love. And same thing with the potatoes. They're already peeled and washed. I'm just gonna cut them in half. But the potatoes I'm gonna cut thinner because I like for the potatoes to be cooked really nicely and soft. And I like them when they're cut thinner. Okay, and then you put the potatoes in the pan with the zucchini. And now I have 2 bell peppers here. I'm just gonna cut all around the seeds. And just try to get most of the seeds out. And then I like to cut these into thin slices. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this orange bell pepper. You can use any color you like I said before. And then just put them all in the same pan. All that's left now is the onion. So I'm just gonna cut it in half and then into thin slices. I like to keep it in half moons like this. And this looks like a lot. It is a lot. This feeds a crowd. And not only that, if you're making it for your family, this makes for great leftovers. It keeps fresh in the fridge for 4 or 5 days. So it's a perfect meal to have on there. You can turn it into so many other things as well. This turns into a soup too if you have leftovers. Just mix everything up a little bit. And now we're just gonna make the sauce. So the sauce is very simple to make. I have a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes that I'm putting in here. I made it the other day with prepared pasta sauce. I just used half a jar of pasta sauce and it was delicious. And I'm gonna add some roasted red bell peppers straight from the jar. I'm gonna put 3 in here. Now I've also made this with harissa sauce and that is also very good. I'm basically adding like a harissa type flavor to this. Now I'm gonna add a little bit of sugar, about a teaspoon, to cut the acidity of the tomatoes. A little bit of salt. Let's start with half a teaspoon. We can taste this as we go. Some black pepper. And I'm gonna add 1 more can of diced tomatoes because that does not look like enough salt. Not enough salt, enough sauce. A little bit more sugar. And I'll do a little more salt. And I'm using a high-speed blender, but a regular blender will do. A food processor will also do the trick. And I'm just gonna blend it until it's smooth. And you wanna give your sauce a taste. That tastes delicious to me. And go ahead and pour it all over the veggies. And we need a little bit more flavor. But before we do that, we are going to need some oil. About a 1/4 cup of olive oil to a 1/3 of a cup will do. Greek vegetable dishes are usually heavier on the olive oil. They're known as lavera, which means oil-based dishes. So I'm going to put some dried oregano, about a teaspoon or 2, depending on your taste, whatever you prefer. Some crushed red pepper flakes. I like a heavy pinch. I like it a little bit on the spicy side. And then we're going to season with more salt because we didn't add any salt to the vegetables. About a teaspoon or 2 is what you need. And I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper. And just mix everything up with your clean hands. Then you're just going to cover it with aluminum foil. And that's it. The oven should be preheated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to bake in the oven for about 45 minutes covered. Then I'm going to uncover it and let it bake for another 20 or 30 minutes, or until the veggies are nice and fork tender. The sauce will have thickened just a little bit. And if you want more color on them, you can give them a nice mix and turn the broiler element on for the last 5 minutes or so. You'll know they're done once the potatoes are fork tender. That's what takes the longest to cook. I'll show you what they look like as soon as they come out. Okay, so because I made such a big batch of these roasted veggies, it took way longer than what I said it was in the beginning. And plus, I was also roasting a leg of lamb in the oven, so I had to play with the oven space. It took about 2 hours for all these veggies to be done cooking. A lot of things are gonna determine how long this is gonna take to cook, the size of the pan that you're using, how many veggies you put in there, the placement in the oven, but give yourself about 1.5 hours to 2 hours max if you're making a big batch. And you should definitely make a big batch because, like I said before, this stays fresh in the refrigerator for days. You can use it as a side for anything. Tastes so good with everything. I would even eat it as a main course with some feta cheese, a nice salad, and it is delicious. Tastes delicious for breakfast too, like I said, with some eggs. But any leftovers can be turned into a soup. Just puree it with a little bit of water and cook it a little longer, and you'll have a delicious roasted veggie soup. But it is time to do the taste test. And I like to serve mine with big chunks of feta that have been drizzled with olive oil and sprinkled with some oregano. So comforting. All of the flavors that I love are in here. Roasted red peppers, onion, potato. The whole thing is so delicious. So much flavor in it. The recipe is on the website, www.dimitrasdishes.com. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I will see you here next time with another delicious recipe worth sharing. Yes,